for even when you're traveling, all right, become part of it. So the salah, the adhan comes for the 5 daily salah and salat al-jum'ah. And the mu'adhineen of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one who used to call the adhan, are 4 people. The most famous one was Bilal radiallahu anhu, and then Ibn Maktoum radiallahu anhu, and those are where they were in Masjid al-Medina, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's masjid. Then Sa'd al-Qarad radiallahu anhu, he was in Masjid Quba, and also Abu Mahdura radiallahu anhu was in Masjid al-Haram in Mecca. So 4 mu'adhin at the time, four of them. Of course, the most famous one Bilal, then Ibn Maktoum, but the other 2, Sa'd al-Qarad radiallahu anhu and Abu Mahdura radiallahu anhu, they were not as famous as the others. So the sunnah of the mu'adhin, the one who called the adhan, to raise his voice as much as he can. Because the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, everyone hears you. Whether the jinn or human being, each thing hear you, he listens to your voice or hear your voice, they will testify for you on the day of judgment. And they said the mu'adhin, Allah will forgive him as far as his voice reaches. And everything, like they said, the shajar, the trees, the hajar, the stones, everything hear you, and then they will testify and witness for you on the day of judgment before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, the authentic hadith, muttafaq alayhi, Bukhari Muslim, said, لو يعلمون, if they know, ما في أو لو يعلم الناس ما في النداء والصف الأول ثم لا يجدوا إلا يستهموا عليها لاستحموا أو عليه لاستحموا. So the hadith, they said, if they know the reward for the nida means the call, the adhan. If the people know the reward for the adhan and come into the first saf, the first row, and they found no way but, let's imagine like 2 people come at the same time. Should I call the adhan or you should call the adhan? Should I be in the first row or should be in the first row? And we came at the same time, they make raffle. If they have to do this, they should. If they know the reward, nobody will give it up. Subhanallah. So, and he said, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hadith narrated by Muawiyah ibn Abu Sufyan radiallahu anhuma, he said, "Al-mu'adhinuna atwalu a'naqan yawm al-qiyamah." Atwal, linguistically, atwalu a'naqa mean they have a long neck. And they said that when the people of hadith, the mufassirin, they said this is mean you can distinguish one meaning, so they be like distinguished from among everyone. You could tell this person he have special form, special look on the day of judgment. Or they said their reward so huge. You can recognize who they are, or their reward so huge. أطول عناقا, meaning that they are more rewarded than anything else. And some imams, matter of fact, they did not want to be imams. They want to be only mu'adhin. Because there's so many hadith shows the reward of the mu'adhin. Way more than a hadith talks about the imam. The adhan. So he said, one hadith, this is, imagine every time you call the adhan, everything hears you, testify for you and witness for you in the day of judgment. And he said, أطول عناقا, they are the most rewarded, and so on. The adhan, the fame, usually we know one adhan, which is the adhan of Bilal radiallahu anhu, the regular adhan when we say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, hayya ala salati, hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah, hayya falah, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. This is the most famous adhan. But there's other form of adhan, like the adhan of Abi Mahdura radiallahu anhu, which is more than the other adhan. You add, for example, you say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah 4 times. After you finish 4 times, then you start again. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu Muhammad Rasulullah, ashhadu Muhammad Rasulullah. Then he starts again, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. So this is even longer. And of course, like I said, there's more than one type of adhan. It's the sunnah to try to alternate, to do this sometimes and the other adhan sometimes. And adhan al-fajr, you add to the adhan, you say as-salatu khayrun min al-nawm. As-salatu khayrun min al-nawm. This is part of the adhan al-fajr. But the thing is, if you don't say it, your adhan is still valid. There's something extra for adhan fajr, but if you don't say it, the adhan is still valid, but part of adhan fajr, definitely say that. The iqamah, we're going to talk about the iqamah, how is the iqamah going to be. First of all, there's condition for the adhan to become acceptable. So one of them to be in order. You cannot say Hayya al Salah, then Allahu Akbar, then Hayya al Falah, then Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Has to be in order the way it was at the time for Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first thing, and the second thing has to be after the time the Salah. You cannot make adhan before the time for Salah. For example, Isha 6:30, so that has to be done 6:30. It cannot be 6:20 or 6:29. Has to be at the same time. And of course, the muadhin has to be Muslim. Male, female cannot make call adhan, right? Ameen, so it's trustworthy, fully sane. Cannot be like someone insane to call the adhan. Has to be fully sane and knows the difference. You cannot have a baby call the adhan. Even some conditions, subhanAllah, some conditions has to reach the puberty. But of course, this is not the authentic, the stronger opinion. As long as the kid knows the adhan, and it will be fine, inshallah. And then one of the sunnah of the adhan, when you say Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala falah, this you move your neck this way for Hayya ala salah, and then you say Hayya ala falah the other way. So Hayya ala salah, and you left to right, left side and say Hayya ala falah. And you cannot say, for example, Allahu Akbar. Has to be together, one breath. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. You can say Hayya, then ala salah. Hayya ala falah. Has to be Hayya ala salah. If each sentence together. You cannot separate it. Of course, nobody does that, but to know, like if someone, you never know, some people, they don't. So we do it together, inshallah, it has to be done together. And like we said with the sunnah, to move toward the left and the right, even though there's the mics. Back in the days, they said one of the wisdom, because the voice started going this direction, goes to different directions also. The people on this side, the right side, left side, they could hear you. So, but still, they said the scholars, they said, has to be the same thing. You have to, part of the sunnah, to look right and left. Also, one of the sunnah for the muadhin, to face the qibla, sunnah. Sunnah to face the qibla. Sunnah to have wudu. Can he make adhan without wudu? You can, but sunnah to have wudu. And also one of the sunnah, you have to be standing. So you know the sunnah. So, and also by the sunnah to put your fingers, the index right here, look at here, this way. This way. Those index and hold in your ears like this. This is the sunnah. The sunnah, then not like this, not one hand, the other hand in your pocket. Both hands this way. This is the sunnah of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you call the adhan before, the time, then you do it. So they said at the time for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, some opinions, you make 2 adhans for Fajr. One adhan like before the adhan, which is people know, they said time for suhoor, time for if you want to do your witr, it's outside Ramadan, outside the days you fast, and then to conclude your salah, this is close, and so on, and you get ready for Salat al-Fajr. So they said part of the sunnah to have another adhan. The sunnah, this is what we missing a lot of times, what to say after the sunnah. A lot of us knows, but the thing is the reward for it. We miss out a lot when the muadhin called the adhan. You say exactly what the muadhin says. Every time you say Allahu Akbar, you say Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, you say Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, you say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Till you say Hayya ala salah. And this one you say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Every time you say Hayya ala salah, you say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. They call it al-hawqala, right? One of the sunan, after the imam finishes, he said, you say الصلاة upon the Prophet. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم mentioned the hadith, and he said part of the sunnah to say the dua. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته. So he said whoever says that حلت له شفاعتي, then you become entitled for the shafa'a of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or he promises you get the shafa'a, which is the intercession on your behalf in the day of judgment. This authentic hadith by Bukhari and Muslim, or Bukhari, I'm sorry. There's another dua. Said whoever says, subhanallah, after the adhan. This is another thing. So basically you say salah upon the Prophet, then the dua if you want to, or you can alternate. And then he said, whoever says after, when the muadhin says, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله, after أنه قال, حين يسمع المؤذن, when you hear the muadhin, you say, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم رسوله. Then غفر له ذنبه. Allah will forgive your sins. If you say أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله رضيت بالله ربا ومحمد رسوله وبالإسلام دينا وغفر له ذنبه. Allah will forgive your sins. This authentic hadith by Imam Muslim rahimahullah ta'ala. Then you can make dua for yourself. The Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As said the virtue of saying after the muadhin, follow the muadhin, when he said, when you hear the muadhin, he said, فَقُولُوا مِثْلَ مَا يَقُولُ, say what he says, exactly. Then sallu alayhi, then he says salah upon the Prophet when he finished, right? He said, whoever make one salah upon me, man salla alayhi salah, sallallahu alayhi biha ashar. Allah will make salah upon you 10 times. Then he said, سلوا ثم سلوا لي الوسيلة فإنها منزلة في الجنة لا تنبغي إلا لعبد من عباد الله. Then he said, ask Allah for wasila for me. There's a place in Jannah called al-wasila. You asked for this wasila to be for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Said this is suitable for one of my slaves, only one. And he said, وأرجو أن أكون. I hope that the slave will be me. He said, whoever asks Allah to grant me the wasila, that special place, then he said, حلت له الشفاعة. Then he will get the intercession from me, he said. So the thing is, when we say sallu alayhi, when we say sallallahu ala Muhammad, or Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyina, what sallallahu ala Muhammad means? When we say Allahumma salli, no, we know salah will make salah, will make Allah Akbar, make salah, ruku' and sujood. When we say Allah, subhanAllah said that the Quran mentioned this, Allah makes salah upon the Prophet and the Malaika. So ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Inna Allaha wa malaika salluna ala nabi. So Allah and His messengers, they make salah. What the salah of Allah upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The salah upon the So what is the what when you say Allahumma salli, what does that mean? When Allah makes salah upon the Prophet sallallahu ala Muhammad, what does that mean? Yeah.
Praising him?
Yeah, definitely. Huh? No, this when Allah said Allah yusalli, Allah makes salah upon the Prophet, mean Allah subhanahu praising the Prophet and He pleased with him. When you hear sallallahu, that's mean Allah makes salah upon the Prophet? No. That's mean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pleased with the Prophet and He praised him. As He said, وَإِنَّكَ عَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. You have the best morals. Muhammad Rasulullah, and so on. So whatever compliment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praising the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, whoever makes salah upon the Prophet, Allah will make salah upon you 10 times. That's mean Allah will be pleased with you. There's nothing more reward than this, subhanAllah. When you travel, you have no masjid. Should you make the adhan in the time of, as you know, the sunnah to make adhan and iqamah. Let's say you want to pray Isha, you have to, sunnah to make adhan and iqamah. Should you make the adhan and iqamah at the time of the salah, or when should you make it?
You can make it at time, that if you're not making it exactly, you can make it after.
So not talking about the adhan. When you make salah, when you travel a lot. Huh?
You said during the travel.
Yeah, when you travel.
So if I cannot stop, I can make it a little bit later too.
Right. So that.
You make it when you're about to start salah?
Yeah, you make it when you're about to, you make the adhan, which is what's survived. So basically, you make it when the adhan, when you're about to make salah. For example, let's say salat al-maghrib, you're in Texas, for example, right? And salat al-isha is 7 o'clock, but you're not going to stop till 8. You don't stop to make adhan come. No. When you're about to make salah, when you stop, you make ready, you make wudu and everything. You make adhan, then the iqamah. So you delay the adhan till about to make the iqamah. Then will be the about to make salah. So this what it is. And said the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned this, how much the shaitan hate the adhan. When the shaitan hears the adhan, he runs away. And he passed in gas, according to the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, authentic. Right, subhanallah. Till stop, he comes back. Then when you make the iqamah, he runs back again. He heeds the adhan. Then when you're done, then comes back and try to whisper and to divert you away from the salah. The salat, the adhan also for the day of Jum'ah. When should we make the adhan? The adhan, the time for Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was one adhan. When Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to go on the minbar, then he called in and says, "Assalamu alaikum," they called in, like we do here. How about some people make two adhans? Is that sunnah or not?
Yeah, because Uthman radiallahu anhu.
Right. So Uthman radiallahu anhu, he have done two adhan. Uthman radiallahu anhu, time for Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made one adhan, different, till he died. Then Umar, Abu Bakr and Umar, one adhan. When the Imam, when Umar used to go on the minbar, then they called the adhan radiallahu anhu, and same with the Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But when the Medina became large, huge, then they made two adhan to inform the people, or they could hear, or give them enough time to make ghusl or so on. They called the first adhan. Then they call the second adhan. But if there's nowadays with the mics and the speakers and so on, sound systems, I mean, really, there's no need to go back to the original, which is the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But if someone does it, no problem, because this is the sunnah of Uthman. Yes. Huh. The thing is, they make the adhan. People get confused. Then some people, they get up and make sunnah to rak'ah, for rak'ah. They think this is dhuhr. Jum'ah has nothing to do with dhuhr. Inshallah, we'll give a dars about Jum'ah and the difference between Jum'ah and dhuhr. That's some people get confused. And when they call the first adhan, they get up, they make for rak'ah, sunnah dhuhr. There's no such a thing. There's dhuhr difference, not Jum'ah. Jum'ah is not dhuhr. So there's no sunnah for that. So if you enter the masjid when the adhan called, the muadhin calling the adhan, you stay standing, repeating after the muadhin. When he finishes, then you make 2 rak'ah sunnah. Some brother, they come to the masjid, they sit. Make 2 rak'ah sunnah. Except for Jum'ah. So any day, any salah, you come when the muadhin called, you wait till he finished, repeat after him, make dua, then make 2 rak'ah sunnah. Except if you come on Friday during the khutbah, not all day Friday, not the Fajr, not Asr, not Maghrib, Friday and Jum'ah. If the muadhin called the adhan and you walked in, you make 2 rak'ah sunnah. Why? You missed the khutbah. So what if you missed the khutbah? Because you should have missed the adhan also.
That's true. But so you can just sort of maximize your time there, just finish the 2 rak'ahs so you can pay attention to the khutbah.
Mm-hmm.
The khutbah is wajib and adhan, repeating after muadhin is sunnah.
Perfect. Yeah, what you said logically. But this is which is right. The khutbah, listen to the khutbah is wajib. Repeating after the muadhin sunnah. So the wajib override the sunnah. So Jum'ah, on the Salat Jum'ah, if you come, make start your salah right away, even if the adhan calls, Allahu Akbar right away, even if the adhan calls. Because listen to the khutbah more prior than the adhan. When you are in the masjid and the adhan, for example, you came for Salat Dhuhr or Asr or any Salah, and the muadhin called the adhan. Now, you know, the Salat al-Dhuhr, we wait because the school sometimes like 40 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, or Fajr. You're not allowed Islamically to leave till you've joined the Jama'ah, unless there is necessity or there's something important or emergency. Besides this, you cannot leave. When the adhan called, la yajuz, not permissible for someone to leave this unless you have sickness or you want to refresh your wudu or something emergency outside the masjid. You're in the masjid, you stay in the masjid till you make the salah with the jama'ah. As we have the iqamah, the adhan have like a few different ways to make the adhan. The same thing with the iqamah, have few different ways. You could do it like Bilal, what we do it like Bilal radiallahu anhu's way, and said which is Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, 1 time instead of 2 times instead of 4 times. Then he said Ashhadu an la ilaha 1 time instead of 2 times. He said Ashhadu Muhammad Rasulullah. They say Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala falah. Then you say Qad qamat salah twice. Qad qamat salah. Then say Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. This one way. And then there's another way, you could do it like the adhan. Also sunnah. Like say alternating. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Rasulullah, ashhadu anna Rasulullah, hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, hayya al falah, qad qama as-salah, qad qama as-salah, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, la ilaha illallah. So could be like regular salah, also was narrated by Abu Dawud and Tirmidhi in authentic hadith, so and so on. طيب. When should we get up during the iqamah? Because some people they get up when they hear the iqamah, some people in the middle, some people they get up whenever. When should we get up? Yes.
Question about the previous one, I'm sorry. So, let's say you go for Jummah, right? And when they are done praying, so when they are done praying, do you have to do 4 or is it 2?
When Jum'ah?
Yeah. Like
And Jum'ah, if there's to make 2 adhan, you don't have to get up after the second adhan.
you gotta do, no, after they pray the Jummah. And
Oh, after pray Jum'ah. This is a different topic. But after Jum'ah, you, if you're in the masjid, you make 4 rak'ah, 2 and 2. If you go home, you make only 2 rak'ah. So what was my question? I forgot.
When do you get up for iqamah?
When you get up for iqamah, Hashmat. Okay, there's when you say yes.
There's 2 ways.
Mhm.
If you see the imam in front of you, or if he walks in, or when they say, hayya ala salah.
Mhm.
In the time of the Prophet, they used to get up and the Prophet used to walk in the masjid, but then the scholar came on, I forgot it was Ibn Ahmed bin Hanbal or something.
Mhm.
He said, oh no, Ibn Taymiyyah, he said you can get up at the time of Qad Qam as-Salah.
Your question was when the iqamah was called. He didn't say before.
Yeah,
Oh, what time
yeah,
during the
yeah.
adhan?
So when you get up, this difference. Yes, Mr.
I remember you mentioning that
Yeah.
there's no specific actually time for mentioning to get up.
Mhm. All right.
You can't get up when the sheikh walks in.
That's before the iqamah. There's this when they get up, like Hashmat said, this different question. When should we get up? The Sahaba used to get up when Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam walks in. So Sunnah, when the Imam comes in, okay, get up, fine. So now, if you sit in, you didn't pay attention or different way. When you get up, there's no hadith to say when should you get up. But Imam Ahmad rahimahullah said the action of Sahaba, when they said, most of them, when they said, قَدْ قَامَتْ الصَّلَاةِ. The action of Sahaba. It's not madhab or something. The action of Sahaba, when he said, قَدْ قَامَتْ الصَّلَاةِ, you get up for Salah. So this is the closest opinion about it. Otherwise, there's nothing, subhanAllah, we know about. طيب. Can be the mu'adhin, the one who make iqamah, different than the one who called the adhan? You can, but better to be the mu'adhin. You can. So 2 people, one make the iqamah and the second one make the adhan. Could be this or that, but the better off to be the mu'adhin. طيب. Need to finish before it's too late. طيب. The other thing is like you could add to the adhan one thing, as we add hayya ala salah, salatu khairun nawm in the hand. You could say with like severe cold, living in a Muslim village, Muslim city, and for time of Rasulullah when there was like severely rain, and he said, "Ala sallu fi rihal," pray at home. Add to the adhan, pray at home, pray at home. So you could say that for emergency. You could say that if there's like living in a Muslim neighborhood. When you get up, when you come for when you like traveling, do you make? Let's say we combine Maghrib and Isha. Do you make 2 adhan to iqamah, or 1 adhan or iqamah, or 1 to iqamah? Or how do you do it? Salah. 1 adhan to iqamah. You make adhan for the first one, Maghrib and Isha. For example, you combine Maghrib and Isha and you travel. You make 1 adhan. Then after the adhan, you make 2 iqamah. إذا iqamah for Maghrib, you make the adhan, then iqamah for pray Maghrib, then iqamah for Isha, and you're done. All right. طيب. There is the last thing I want to mention. It's 8 o'clock. There is nothing to say. Nothing to say after the iqamah. A lot of people said aqamah, Allahu dama, subhanallah, alhamdulillah. They create things. It has nothing to do with the sunnah. There's no such a thing. No weak opinion, no madhab, no strong opinion about this. There's no such a thing. When the adhan, the iqamah done, you stand there waiting for the salah to start. He said the iqamah, right away they added some dua and so on. Part of the sunnah part of Sunnah. Prophet ﷺ said, between the adhan and the iqamah salah, between two adhans there is salah. Remember this. Even if you sat in the masjid, you came, you met, let's say for example, you arrived before Asr, for example. Then you made 2 rak'ahs at Tahiyat al-Masjid. Then after that, after greeting the masjid, 2 rak'ahs, then the adhan called. Then whether you take the opinion if there's salah before Asr or not, there's, let's take, go to the something there's no different opinion about. You came here before Isha, for example. And let's say you came at 6:20. You greet the masjid 2 rak'ah, then the adhan 5 minutes later was the adhan called, right? So when the adhan called, finish, and you get up and make 2 rak'ah, the sunnah. 2 rak'ah, this has not to do with the sunnah before Isha or before Maghrib, before Asr, this or before Dhuhr. This is between every 2 adhan, there's a salah, hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So something to take advantage of. So between each 2 salah, the 2 adhan, there is salah, inshallah. We'll stop right here. Subhanakallah bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.